and MedPro. I got Nico Russo's over there and Lane Shatley. We got a chat going on over here. Oh, I see. It has a transcript. That's interesting. We don't really need to see that over there. I'm going to close that up. 10-minute video. 10-minute video here. I was out last week or the week before, guys, was it? Yes. I was out a few weeks ago in Kansas City with Nico and Lane. We went out to the Kansas City VA. These guys set up a really great call with Dr. Stark and a few of the other people in there, and just wanted to do, and we came out with them. Literally, I think Dr. Stark had said, one of the ladies in the wound clinic had asked him, "Hey, Dr. Stark, should we get some other doctors involved?" And I think his words were, "No, we're fine. I'm the decision maker. We can go to trial." You know, so I just wanted to, I thought it was a really great best practice call. I'm psyched that you guys can run forward and do an eval at that wound clinic with the motion. So I just wanted to do down here, I wanted to do a quick 10-minute introduction. I wanted to get your initial thoughts of the meeting and our meeting together with who we met with over there at the VA. And then kind of what we found with regard to, they had some pain points over there with regard to KCI, getting pumps. I think we addressed those really well. So I wanted to run through this. Any of you guys, either one of you guys like to start with just some of these bullet points, and then at the end, just lay out what you guys are going to do rolling forward, man. What are the next steps over at the Kansas City VA?
So I'll just kind of start, and I'll say though, a lot of this legwork initially was done by Lane, going back and forth, him and Gage, trying to get these doctors, are the doctor and the main clinician, on the same page for a date. And obviously getting a doctor involved is kind of paramount to making sure this is a good meeting, because at the end of the day, the clinicians are going to take it to the doctor. And I think what we learned when we sat down is the doctor had his hands crossed and he was ready to kick us out before we even started, because he had no idea about Medilo wound care. And he thought we were a run-of-the-mill company that, like all the others, I can't remember the ones he mentioned, Joe, but he mentioned, what was some of the other, he mentioned Cork, he mentioned a couple other ones that he had seen in the past and was very unimpressed with. So he came to the table thinking he was going to be as unimpressed with those as he was going to be with us. And I'll take it a little further. It was great to get the meeting. Lane and Gage did a great job of getting it, but I don't think I'd stress the point to make sure that Joe is there, a clinician there, somebody that can speak this high level with the doctor, because Lane and I could have taken it to a certain level, but without Joe being there, I'll definitely will say Joe did a great job in alleviating any of the stress, the questions are that the doctor brought up because of Joe's experience within the OR and with doctors in that realm. So kudos to Joe for helping us kind of get it to where it is right now, because I don't think me and Elaine and I could have got it to where we are right now. So thank you, Joe. And I think that's very important, that you just don't go in there when you have an audience. The option of getting that audience again is probably slim to none. So you got to make sure you capitalize on it.
Yeah, you guys brought in a lot of the key players. So I think, thanks for the compliments, but I think at the end of the day, I brought in at different companies. I've been brought into places that you walk in there and either nobody shows, or, and this isn't a MedPro thing, nobody shows, or you got one person. Dude, you guys kind of had like all the key players. I mean, you had the surgeon, Dr. Stark, and he was like, yeah, dude, I call all the shots. And then you had like the whole wound team and the wound center inside, inpatient and outpatient. I mean, really anyone that had any issues with KCI, that had any pain issues, they spoke up and we were able to address them. I think that's huge, man, if you can put the right people like you did in the room, man.
Yeah, and I know we've kind of touched on a couple of the points already, but I don't have my notes in front of me. But what we found in the pain points, I know, Joe, you were really good about kind of putting this all together on the pain points. So I don't know if you want to talk to their pain points from an outpatient perspective and you know, how we're going to try to rectify that from the prosthetics and how they get it. Because I think we've all know this, that each VA does everything different. I mean, there's going to be VAs that actually buy their pumps. There's going to be VAs that actually will rent their pumps, and there's actually VAs that will use the motion differently than the other ones. I think that's where it's going to be beneficial, stuff like this, to figure out, you know, all the VAs, as we know, for products that we've represented in the past, are not the same and will do things differently. And this is a great one to kind of find that real differentiator in terms of what they do compared to other VAs we've talked to in the past.
Yeah, dude,
I do have my notes in front of me if you want me to go over some pain points.
My man Lane. Lane's got notes. The note taker. Lane, the note taker. What do you got? What do you got? I remember a lot of these pain points. There were two basic ones. What do you got, my man?
Well, the initial meeting, he said that they lose pumps and they have no way of tracking them outside of the hospital or inside the hospital. They really don't like the process of going through KCI, the discharging, and just all the tracking of the pumps. Who's in charge of that? They do rent 15 to 20, which I thought was interesting for a VA. What else? They just like the process of going through the hospital from inpatient to outpatient to discharging them and then getting that pump back. They have had issues getting those pumps back due to their just not being able to track them.
Yeah, dude, 100%. 100%. My man Lane, Nico taught him well. Good notes. They've lost $25,000 pumps. I think it's really ironic that the large vac Alta pumps that are like hospital pumps have been sent home with patients and they've lost those. So that was a big pain point. They can't track the pumps. So that was a pain point, and then they lose them, right? And so that was one of the reasons that they really liked the motion pumps, because they're single patient use, disposable. You don't have to track them. They go out the door and you never have to get them back. And those were two of the other big issues over here. They did not like the process through prosthetics and the wound clinic of trying to acquire a KCI pump to send a veteran home. That was the acquisition of a pump to send them home and discharge them. But then number two, they lose pumps and when they try to get pumps back, and also the process of reacquiring the pump from the veteran is also a problem. So this is the reason I want to do this call, is because this is something that for the VA team, you know, Crystal and Gage and Tim Driver, we speak about a lot. But for the rest of the MedPro team, if and when you're calling on VAs, I stress this all the time. I get it. You know, you're tired of hearing it. But I know prosthetics is a call point for other lines you have. Call on prosthetics and just ask them. Number one, is it a pain in the butt when you have to acquire KCI pumps for a discharge? Usually there's work involved. It kind of sucks. And then number two, is it a pain in the butt to reacquire that pump and get it back? You know, and usually it is. And that's one of the reasons that once we explain to these people, if you guys remember that the motion pump, dude, prosthetics can just, first of all, buy a few of them and some of the dressing kits. So that's number one. They can be stocked in your wound clinic. And whatever that lady's name was, Kim, or she was sitting in the back right hand. She had asked us, well, do you think you could put any in our wound office? And we were like, yeah, like that's what you do. You don't call us. Have prosthetics just use their P card and order you a bunch of motions, and they sit in your office. And she loved that idea. So she was sold, you know. And then when we said they're disposable personal pumps, you never have to get them back. Dude, they were sold. Then it just came down to Dr. Stark. He wanted to know if we had a white foam, and he wanted to see the foam. So I tore open a bag, if you remember, a kit, and we passed it around, and we spoke about the integrity of the foam and how the film is made by the same private label company as KCI. And we spoke about Smith & Nephew back in the day. He didn't like the Smith & Nephew product. He didn't like the Cork Medical product. The Cardinal pumps were a piece of garbage, if you remember. he came ready to play. They had tried a bunch of product, but I think if you'll remember, he had said one of the things he liked hearing, and it was by accident I said it because I don't always say it, but I said, we're Medela, and the guts of this Liberty pump come from our Symphony breast pump. We've been in the market 60 years, and that resonated with him. He liked hearing that we weren't a fly-by-night company, whatever. But yeah, we like addressed all their pain points, but they weren't pain points that, for me personally, I don't know about you two guys, they weren't pain points that were novel to me that I wasn't expecting. That's typically, I promise you, what I hear in prosthetics. Yeah, so good call, guys.
I think the fact that you had already been through this kind of scenario, and was it Albany, and I forgot the other VA you had discussed, that brought a little credibility to showing them the Apple tags, telling them exactly what you've seen in others, and it resonating with them because that's what they're seeing now at their own facility. Kind of brought everything full circle, and that's, like you said, that's where we are now. We're ready for an evaluation and all the stuff moving forward.
That's awesome, guys. And again, yeah, you're right. We did speak about the Apple tags, and I was able to tell them about the Albany VA that they bought their own Apple tags, and I was able to show Biomed how to put them on pumps, and it works great, man. Again, for accounts moving forward, we at MedAccess and MedPro aren't going to buy and supply Apple tags for accounts moving forward. But dude, I mean, if you can serve as a consultant and let them know, I think I had my tags on me, and my COVID tag was on my person, and I showed them. I said, here's an Apple tag. And a few of them were like, I remember when we got to the St. Louis VA on that call, next to Carissa or whatever her name was, the guy next to her had said, oh, yeah, I know Apple. Most people know Apple tags. And right away, you earn credibility. You show them how cool they are and they work, and you solve a problem. So, yeah, it was a great call. I don't want to beat a dead horse. I want to keep the video short and get it out to the teams. But, yeah, so next steps are what, guys? You're looking up Dr. Stark this week. You're circling back. And what's the deal with you guys over there at the KCVA?
Just following up with Dr. Stark, and then Jeffrey is the OR director. He's involved as well. Just seeing a kind of a timeline when we want to get in there to do the evaluation. I know they were saying they wanted to do the outpatient evaluation first before they brought it into inpatient. So just seeing that process and when we can get that set up would be our next steps.
That's awesome, dude. VA is the best. They have to pay for trial products. They can't accept anything free. I love it. That's it, guys. That was great, man. Thanks for being on our first call. I don't exactly know how to end the call here. Oh, stop recording. That's it, man. You guys got anything else you want to say?
I think we're good to go.
Good. Yeah, pretty like I said, I think the first intense one that we did, like I said, we obviously had VA calls before in the past, but the way this one went and how it worked out was very beneficial in learning the VA process even more.
Yeah, it was awesome. I appreciate you guys inviting me in. Again, MedPro people, these guys set up all the right people. I just came in and was moderately not awful that day. So that's it. I'll see you guys. Be good. Let me know when we can get back out to the St. Louis VA, man, and get some of your food out there. Okay.
Sounds good. Thanks, Joe.
Thanks,
see you guys.
See you, bye.